Well, welcome back all my YouTube subscribers, and thanks yet again for supporting my internet channel as we explore more of those elusive, long-lost motocross classics from back in the day. Now in this feature clip we're going to browse over a couple of classics from the late 1970s that I spotted recently at the 2020 Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show. So hang around with me for the next few minutes as we take a look at a pair of Vic Eastwood's Hagon Yamaha and Suzuki motocrossers. Now the first of our two Hagon machines is this beautiful Yamaha version of one of Vic Eastwood's old race bikes. Now these Alf Hagon built all alloy monocoque motocross frames are entirely unique in the off-road world because they are just one single box section alloy frame. Alf Hagon of course is a legend in his own right, and he was an extremely successful speedway rider who also raced grass tracks. Now Alf was also well known for building all types of off-road competition frames, forks and other motorcycle parts. But in his later years Alf would go on to build his very own make of shock absorbers, specialising in the modern replicas of the old traditional Girling shocks. But nevertheless these Alf Hagon designed and built all alloy monocoque frames are just part of his engineering genius. Now this Yamaha powered Hagon is naturally based around the tried and trusted Yamaha TT500 4-stroke engine, although these are then bored out to 540cc to give you that little bit extra grunt. And as you can see, the engine fits very snugly inside that superbly designed Alf Hagon frame. But these old TT500 Yamaha motors were very good power plants and complemented this very light alloy monocoque frame very well, and supplied a decent amount of power for Vic Eastwood to power these bikes down the track. Now the fuel tank, although it looks separate from the frame, is actually an integral part of the actual alloy monocoque chassis. Although, as you would expect, the primary function of this very unique bike was to keep the weight to the very minimum, and many of the bike's mounting bolts and fasteners were made of aluminium. And if any steel bolts had to be used, these would then be drilled out to save precious grams of weight wherever possible. Now from what I can recall about these machines, and I may be wrong in this particular respect, but I'm sure these Hagon bikes used Yamaha YZ front forks and brake drums, which actually did their job amicably and performed very well for a bike from the late 1970s. Now a pair of Hagon classic shocks fitted to this particular bike. Of course back in the day these would have been fitted with a pair of Fox air shocks. Now one of the other unusual fitments on this Hagon Yamaha is the way the rear brake pedal pivots from in front of the engine casing rather than in the conventional sense from around the footrest area. Now as far as motorcycle swing arms go, the ones fitted to these Hagons are just wonderful pieces of engineering. They certainly look the part, and once again designed and manufactured by Hagon in-house. But these are another nice piece of alloy engineering and certainly look strong enough to take on even the bumpiest of racetracks. And once again the Yamaha YZ rear brake drum and hub used on this particular Hagon machine. Now the word is that only about 50 of these special Hagon frames were ever constructed, and although most of them had the Yamaha 4-stroke motor fitted in the frame, very few had the alternative Suzuki engine in the frame, which we will take a look at just shortly. But it's very well documented that Vic Eastwood loved these Hagon machines, but was always asking for more power from these Japanese 4-stroke motors. But then again, that's nothing really unusual for a top class racer, as almost every single works rider was always crying out for a faster motorcycle. Now of course both these Hagon machines have been through the restoration process and been lovingly restored by Martin Hagon, who has done an excellent job reviving these old Vic Eastwood machines. Now our second Vic Eastwood Hagon machine is this almost identical type frame, but this time of course is powered by the Suzuki 4-stroke motor. Now this particular Vic Eastwood Hagon machine is powered by the old SP370 4-stroke Suzuki engine, which in standard trim was quite a lame power plant really, but nevertheless with a little bit of ingenuity and some calculated engineering upgrades, this motor is now bored out to 450cc and has plenty of power for even the best of works riders. Now, as I mentioned previously, both these machines have undergone major restoration by Martin Hagon, and as you would expect, these bikes were causing a lot of interest over the 2 days at the classic dirt bike show in Telford. Of course, these specially built alloy monocoque Alf Hagon frames are tribute to his engineering skills, and when you consider that Alf Hagon made his first ever motorcycle frame in 1957, and he made every single component himself from an old rundown 6 foot by 8 foot garden shed at the bottom of his mother's garden. But with regards to Vic Eastwood's racing career, he of course rode a multitude of different machines in his career, including Matchless, Husqvarna, HIS, CCM and even Maiko. Now although he won countless races, he was possibly one of the best riders of his generation never to wear the British or World Motocross crown. Now in this particular bike's case, these Hagon machines would have been fitted with a pair of these Fox air shocks as standard back in the 1970s, as these were hugely popular suspension systems back in that day. And it's good to see that this bike has been refitted with a pair of these authentic Fox parts. And once again, this Suzuki fuel tank is also part of the overall Hagon frame, and you can just see the beautiful engineering that's gone into putting these lovely frames together. Now in this particular shot you can see the top of the shock mounting bolts have been drilled out. Now this of course is to save yet more precious weight and to make the bike as light as possible. But these both machines have been refitted with all of their original parts from back in the day, and a very nice fitting tribute to the late Vic Eastwood, which of course we lost in 2019. But then again, you could never argue with the engineering in these lovely chassis, and they were in their way quite streamlined, as almost all of the bike's control cables were actually routed through the middle of the frame. But these are a pair of very unique machines and have lots of historic value. These lovely Vic Eastwood, Hagon, Yamaha and Suzuki machines. Now, the next video to be posted on my channel, we will be taking a look at another British classic, and this is Austin Clues' Schoolboy Scrambler CCM. Now, of course, Austin is the son of the late Alan Clues, and this was a one-off special bike that his father built for him to go schoolboy racing. Now, we will be looking at this machine before and after its restoration, so make sure you continue to subscribe to my channel in order that you don't miss it. But thanks once again for taking the time to look at both of these Hagon, Suzuki and Yamaha bikes, and please stay tuned to my channel for more of these superb racing classics. This video was brought to you in association with WorldSport, the world's #1 supplier for all your off-road and leisure sportswear. Just visit their online website for more information.